What's up, guys? Nappy Head Millie here, and like, share, subscribe. I'm playing Anji. I'm playing my boy Jalen. He's got a pretty good chip. I like his Potemkin as well, but his chip is pretty nice. So like, share, subscribe, and let's get started with the topic at hand. So I want to start with just saying this. I want to ask you guys a question. You can leave it in the comment because obviously it helps the algorithm. I want to leave a comment. Do you guys think making a game more accessible automatically means you're making the game easier? Like, I really want you guys to answer that. Anybody can answer it, even if you don't know what I'm talking about. Listen to what I'm gonna say in this video, and then please leave a comment and tell me what you guys think. So I left a little comment on a page called Fighting Game X because I've seen a lot of people on the page, a lot of older players, kind of going at newer players, saying how newer players can't do X, Y, or Z in certain games. So I asked them, why do you guys feel as though the newer players, i.e. 09ers, because if you start playing around 09, you kind of fall in this games were being dumbed down around that time situation. Why do you feel as though people that start playing back in 2009 and above cannot, are the reason why games are being dumbed down? Why don't you blame the devs? Now, to my surprise, there are lots of people that are actually saying they blame the devs, and they blame the devs because certain developers in certain games do not attempt to teach players how to play their game. Now, we do have an example of this. Perfect example, Tekken. Tekken is a game. I remember when Leffen kind of brung it up and people got mad at Leffen for saying it, but the 100% truth, Main Man Swing just said it currently. Tekken does not teach its players its full-on mechanics. It doesn't. It teaches you somewhat 8-way movement. It doesn't teach you about tech like Korean backdash, which is an important tech that Tekken knows is important, yet it doesn't attempt to teach people. It doesn't find ways to at least show a bare bones, okay, this is their main gimmick, so you might want to look out for this. Tekken can teach that. That is a simple tutorial. That is a simple tutorial guide that they can add in, but Tekken doesn't want to do that because it is tailored to you go in, you get your ass whooped, you figure it out. Now the problem with that becomes when newer players get their ass whooped, they don't want to stay. A lot of people don't want to admit this, but it's the cold hard truth. If I go to Tekken, I've been playing Tekken since Tekken 3. If Tekken was to just come out, right, and you have a certain group that picks up on the game super fast, and then you have me as a new player, and I try and jump in, and I'm playing these people that learn super fast and get my ass whooped all the time, and the game isn't really helping me understand why I'm getting my ass whooped, I'm going to get frustrated. I'm going to defend new players on this one. I'm going to get frustrated. Now, I understand before you guys say it, there are more accessible things. You do have guides on YouTube. You do have guys all over Reddit. You do have pages that are dedicated to learning frame data, what's the most optimal moves in Tekken online. You have those things. But as a newer player, if I don't know how to put those things into practice, how am I gonna put them into play? I can watch a video all day, but if I'm not in that situation to know how to put it into practice, how am I gonna put it into play? And I think a lot of players forget that. Now, that's not to say the devs don't need to figure out a better way to figure out, and that's not to say newer players do not need to put the time in. I'm not saying that at all. I do believe if you are a newer player and you swear to God that you're wanting to be in the fighting game community, if you want to be in the FGC, you have to sit down and take some of those L's. You have to sit down and take the time to learn the game. Guilty Gear Strive has been out for a week. I've had the game since last Tuesday. I've had the game for a week. I have not played one ranked game. You know why? Because I am not competent in my Anji. You can watch my Anji right here, and I feel like I dropped so many combos. I feel like mechanically I did so many things wrong in these matches. I don't feel comfortable and competent to go playing ranked. And that is me as a player knowing why I want to grow and what's my growth. I know I'm not ready. So I take a step back to figure things out before I am ready. Now, Strive is a weird one. I want to get to that real quick because how dedicated Guilty Gear fans are. Because it's not in the Mount Rushmore, but it's an honorable mention, if that makes sense. It's not Mortal Kombat, it's not Street Fighter, it's not Tekken, it's not Smash, but it's definitely an honorable mention when you come to fighting games. Because fans are so dedicated to that game, they're used to the mechanics and the way it plays. So now that Strive has came out, you got a weird conundrum. It's a weird divide in the community. You have those that say it's a dumbed down game and it's not fun, and you have those that are coming into the game or have been in the game that are saying this is a good departure for what it used to be, while still keeping remnants of Guilty Gear. Not a departure, it's a good iteration, And for me, because I've been playing Guilty Gear for about a year. I say about a year. So for me, I don't have the growing pains as many players do, but I do see where they're coming from, the veteran players. But what scares me and what prompted me to make this video is that I've read players constantly say this game is not for the skillful. This game is batshit easy. I've seen it. I can clip it. I have a clip. I can literally show you a picture of a player putting up a video basically talking about dust, and he did a combo. He did one of the air rushes. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm newer to Guilty Gear, so sometimes I stumble over my words, but guys know what I'm talking about. He did a dust attack, sent him into the air, and he did 2 different combos. And when he did his second combo, it's just a 3 hit. It was slash, heavy, slash, heavy, slash, heavy, slash. And when he did that, the damage was like almost comparable, literally almost comparable to each other. And he was saying, oh, this makes it a shit game. But that's not the case. That's not the case, because you're only showing if you get the hits. There's death when you dust attack. Like, there's so much I've seen on Twitter that changes the game. It seems like people aren't giving the game a chance because devs have made it more accessible by lowering the skill ceiling a little bit. And while I do agree, the skill ceiling shouldn't have been touched. The skill floor itself should have been altered to where it's more welcoming. I don't want to be in a community where people constantly tell me my growth ain't shit because it's an easier version. Go play a real game. Nobody wants to constantly play in a scenario where no matter what you do, if you get good at the game, you're going to be shunned for being good at the game because it's not the pinnacle of the game. The pinnacle of what I think Guilty Gear is plus R. If you ain't playing plus R, I don't care if it's Rev 2, I don't care. If you're not playing plus R, you're not playing the pinnacle of the game. So if you're growing in Strive, that's fine, but it's Strive. It's not plus R. You get where I'm coming from? That's how people look at it. And that scares me because that is part of the reason why players do not retain. That is part of the reason, folks. And we have to admit that as players. Yes, the devs do have a part in it. The devs do not do a great job of teaching players how to fundamentally play their games or put them in situations where they have to learn and use the mechanics that are brought to them. Strive tries, but even if you go to the character matchups, a lot of those matchups can get nullified because it doesn't teach things like option select. It doesn't teach things like how a player can switch up what they're about to do. It needs to really switch that up instead of just giving a basic 1-2 press a button and figure out what button punishes. Put them in more situations that pro players or better players would put them in. Put them in a mix-up situation with Anji. Now you have to guess. Now you have to figure out what Anji is about to do next. Put them in a situation where Chip used Alpha Strike. And now you gotta guess which Alpha Strike he's gonna use at what time. Not just it's gonna be straight Alpha Strike. And this is just, this is just what I'm using. Put them in a million mix-up. Put them in a million mix-up and tell them what's the most optimal thing. Make it like chess. This is your best move. This is an okay move. This is a bad move. Not do it 5 times and it works. Put me in that situation that a player could put me in. Put me in a smix and let me figure out how to beat this smix in the best way possible for the most optimal punish. You get what I'm saying? It's on both of us. Players need to stop bitching about the newer players, because in actuality, the people that are bitching the most aren't even new. The newer players coming in are new for a reason. They don't understand the mechanics. They have no reason to bitch. The people that are bitching the most are the people that have been playing the game for the longest, that weren't as good as the game from the first place, and they're just now getting exposed to it. Veterans aren't bitching, new players are bitching. It's the middle. It's the people that are currently playing that aren't as good as they think they are. And that's just my opinion. But devs do need to find a middle ground to teach these players and help these players grow as fighting game players. Making the game easier is not the way. It's not. It's cool, but reworking things to make it easier instead of just teaching the fan base how to play better, that's a failure as a dev. And you know, it is what it is. It's a middle ground. I'm just gonna take the middle ground on it. But like, share, subscribe, and help with the algorithm. I love you guys, and I'm out. Peace.